I'm a dumbass! I had this all set up, but I didn't leave the phone plugged in so that the battery ran out, and I have no idea when it stopped. So I have no idea where I left off. And now the battery is extremely low at 8%. But I'm going to try and soldier on, assuming that some of this was definitely captured. I know some was, just don't know how much. And I'm going to set this up so I can view the live stream over here. Live now. Alright. There we see. Live. Okay. Battery seems to be holding it at 8%. And hello, whoever's joining me. I'm trying to... This is more for documentarial focus for the future. This is not necessarily to be entertaining for anyone that is happening by the stream. Ultimately, this is all about trying to remaster an album from 27 years ago that was released February 22nd, 1993, and that was my first release, 99-cent special plus tax and deposit. And on that, 9 songs were released at a show, and 17 copies were released on the cheapest possible quality tapes. 3 for 99-cent tapes, you know, you get those package with the 3 tapes in it. Oh, it's so horrible. But that was the first official release. This album never was released beyond that, and everything else was focused on the later intentional overdose releases, which are available still to this day. And this is all about going back and recreating from the original sources, from the original old Amiga computer, the sound. And in order to do that, I have to take each sound and separate it into its own channel, which is a laborious task of going through each block of the song and making sure that each of these actually is, you know, going to be separated into the mixing console properly. And then when I make a board mix, I'll take make sure everything's proper. I'll take that, move it over to a real DAW, and then do the actual final mix on a more advanced system. But for now, that's what I'm doing, and gabbing about the past experiences that I've had over all these years, and I have no idea what was last. The last thing I was talking about was how I lost hearing in my ears, and that's created an issue, and that's why the present release that was released 3 years ago of, I just had it, of the Intentional Overdose pre-release, which was released originally in 1996, when this was re-released digitally. It was a 20-year anniversary edition, and I tried to master it without having the ability to hear the high frequencies, so I know that it is messed up, it is not proper, and I actually know that's on my list of to-do things, is to re-release that as well. Re-release of the re-release of the pre-release. So I'll have Intentional Overdose pre-release, re-release, remastered. Yeah, that's the idea. The 26th anniversary, 25-year anniversary. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because no one really cares. No one's. This is all for just a handful of people. But it makes me feel good because this is what was my life, and this is my legacy. This is what I've done. I've created these songs, and I've lived a life in these songs. So regardless of what kind of impact it has on the world is not important. The impact is here. The impact is with a few friends. The impact is with a few fans. I only have like 120 people on Facebook that like the 99 cent special page, and I only know 33 of them, so there are people out there, but I don't know who they are, that it has touched, and we did perform all the way from like Ohio to Providence, Rhode Island to North Carolina, and mainly in central New York. But we did perform. We did have a lot of history, and we did have a lot of good times, a lot of interesting stories along the way. And that's partly what I'm doing, is I'm going through some of these stories and the origins, and going through all this and reliving it all. But my stream died, and it probably will again, because I have no idea what my battery life is like on this phone. It is still 8%. It is holding. It is holding. And I stupidly unplugged the phone and didn't plug it back in, so the battery died. That's why I have no idea where I was and what I was talking about. And the last thing I was talking about was literally not being able to hear 7K or higher in this year, and this one's I think 7K or 8K and higher is gone. And that's because me and Darren went to, Darren the drummer, we went to Germany, to Berlin, to perform with Einstürzende Neubauten, which was a dream come true, one of the leaders, one of the origins of industrial music. And when we did so, we were not doing it solely. We were part of a 100-person choir, and so we were 2% of the 2% of the choir, and we sang "Was ist ist, was nicht ist, ist möglich." That was the one thing that we sang. You know, what is, what isn't is possible. That's the great little saying that Blixa had come up with. And that song is available on YouTube and everything. You can see the performance. Darren's quite front and center in it in his cowboy hat. I tuck behind everyone. I don't really care about being on the screen. And that was an epic moment. But during that event, we had 2 nights. We had the first night, which was only for supporters, and the second night was a public performance, where open to general public. So the first night, Alexander, can't remember his damn name, the bald guy that beats all the stuff. Anyway, he set up a whole mess of drum tables, and they built like 50 to 100 drum tables full of metal objects, plastic objects, cymbals, just junk. And they invited us all to bring drumsticks, so everyone brought drumsticks. And as soon as they pulled those tables out, oh my God, the noise was insane. I have never heard a sound like it in my life. You put 500 people banging on objects, I don't care. There's no way it's going to sound anything different, because it just turns into this massive white noise. It was just within seconds. And there was a throbbing beat that was going behind it, that dun 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 dun. But no one was following it, because they couldn't hear it. The sound was so loud, and our ears are bleeding, not literally, but it was just insanity that all these people were trying to play something, but no one, these people don't know how to play drums, and they're all just banging objects, and you have 500 people doing that in a very large space that's reverberating all the sound, and you just have chaos. And it was literally about 5 or 10 minutes in that I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Left, and my ears are immediately just like impacted. The ringing was there, which is not uncommon for loud shows, but severely impacted. I noticed it was like hearing underwater, and then it never really got that much better. I mean, it got better a little bit, but I've always had tinnitus more in this ear than that one ever since. So that's my epic Einstürzende Neubauten story, which happened November 4th, 2004. And for Grundstück was the name of the album, and that was the Palace der Republik, which was the old German, the GDR, the German Deutsche Republik. It was the East German Parliament building at one time, and then later turned into a mall when the wall fell. And then they stripped it clean on the inside for demolishing, and Einstürzende got in there when it was all stripped out, and it was just like a void of just wrought iron beams and concrete everywhere. It was a pretty epic show, but it forever has changed my life until the day I die, unless they invent some sort of stem cells I can drip into my ears that make my ears all better. I'm basically screwed, and that is why the Intentional Overdose pre-release, re-release 20-year anniversary edition, which came out in 2016, is definitely screwed up, and I have to remaster. Anyway, all that aside, back to the matter at hand. This is all about getting Consumer Commodity, which is the third track on the first album of 99 Cent Special from the 1993 release. And I'm trying to go through and process this so that each of the 15 sounds that are in the song from the ancient Amiga computer are going to output to just the Amiga's left channel, right channel, which are left channel and right channel, outside or left, inside or right. And I have to put that into the ADAT24 hard disk recording system, channel by channel. So left channel, right channel for just 2 tracks, bass drum, snare, and then go through each of the instruments that way. So it's a laborious process, and that's why this is taking me forever to do this. Alright, now that I've caught up where I think I left off when the battery died on the phone, I am going to go back to actually working on this and telling stories as I go along. So what we have here, we have the kick and the snare over here. And a whole lot of nutty stuff going on here. This is for the breakdown in the center of the song where it gets kind of just nutty. And we'd throw out all sorts of gifts to the audience again if it was lost in the last version. We'd raid a 99 cent special store, not a one for us, but a 99 cent only type store where everything's 99 cents, load up on junk, and about $20 worth for shows, and then throw this out during this part of the song. Sometimes it'd be big blow-up hammers, and we'd have to blow them all up, and then they were all out of breath, whatever. But that would lead to the hilarious part where everyone's just running around beating everyone with hammers. And just every time it was different. That was one of the great things of performing live, is you could have so much fun with the audience. And that's what we really marketed, you know, that's what we really sold ourselves well on, is crowd participation, which is what a lot of bands lack. And lacking in lacking in our musical skills, musicalship, lacking in our ability to play music well, was completely just blown out by the fact that we could perform like motherfuckers. Yeah, so we put on a great show. Enjoy your favorite song. Enjoy your favorite song. Enjoy. So that can go out. And we're getting closer to just the bass and drum for this. Again, a little bit of a noisy deal in here. Got to clear out the noisy bits and replace them with the Stigmata snare from Ministry. Again, I stole that because I'm a cheap bastard and I don't have money. And certainly back in those days, all the money went to musical equipment and not a drum machine. So literally had to take anything I could from wherever I could get it, including the snare from Stigmata, which is that. Thank you, Al Jurgensen. I've already said it a couple times, but who knows when my videos stop last. Okay, so that should be cleaned up and separated so that they're both in 2 separate channels for this block. Moving on. Only have 3 more blocks to go, and then this song will be ready for the first dump to the actual recorder. And This is all the work that has to go in to make this actually happen. I already did this over the weekend for the first song on the album, Intro, which is simpler than this song. But it still took a long time to sit there and do this. This is hours and hours worth of work. It really is. But I am documenting this so that I can pull out segments of this video later. And what better place to put it than on YouTube, which will forever archive it. This is an archive. This is a live archive. Alright. Nearly there. These are actually pretty easy because they're repetitive and I know where the changes are. That's pretty much it. Okay. And if you haven't figured out, this is software from the 90s. Alright. 2 more blocks. And they're probably just like these ones, so they're probably the same exact stuff. Enjoy! Oh shit, I just deleted the wrong thing. No undo. And that means I go back a step. Load song. It's making great progress. Ah, I'm not that far off. I was already up this way. Oh. How far back do I have to go? Oh crap. I should have saved a partial and then just copied that from the... That's what I should have done. Oh well. Oh man, I've gone back a ways. How far back? Oh shit balls. I really didn't save in a long time, did I? Oh my god, I just erased a whole bunch of work. Should have saved it, even though it was partially damaged. This is the unfortunate situation of not having undo. I'm like all the way back at the beginning. Did I load the right one? I loaded the right one. Oh my god. I think I'm all the way back. Okay, that's all good. That's good. That's good. That's the ending. Chorus. Intro. Oh yeah, the intro is a little bit higher in pitch for the kick. This is the dead track. There's the same track, just at the normal pitch. Okay. Didn't lose as much as I thought. That's where I left off on my last save. Okay, we're not that far behind. So B, these are both noise channels. 8 is the horn. Be sure you know what you're doing before you do it. horn. That does not belong on the bass drum track. Get rid of these. Extraneous commands that don't need to be there. Okay. Snare. And what is... oh, that's noise. Yeah. That's what that is. So this is all the fun that I have to do. Okay. Done. Okay. Oh, wow. Alright. Tour de force here. And that's, I've already gone through, so I know it's just the hat right there. Snare. Easy. Okay, this one's easy. Done. Just gotta make sure there's no snare in the kick track. Which there is. Hey. Oh. Why does it say 8? Oh, I'm in the wrong. There we go. Isn't this fun, kids? This is not Fruity Loops. Or FL Studios it later became. And back to Mr. Christ, who is sample letter C. Look back on the experiences that they had, and if I missed it because of the stream cutoff before, he was saying that at one of my performances in elementary school, playing trumpet on stage, and that was kind of a apocryphal moment, if you will, because he is saying look back on the experiences that they've had, talking about the band program, and here it is, I'm still doing music so many years later. Who knows if anyone else stuck with it. It hasn't done me any good, but I sure love it. Alright, is the hat all this channel? The hat is all that channel. Safely delete the hat. Hatless now. Mr. Christ has left the room. And we have a snare over there. In the kick track. Okay. Another one. And what is 6? 6 is enjoy your favorite program. Okay. The Wheel of Fortune sample. This should do it. And like that, we have now separated the snare from the kick. For that block. Moving on, block number 18. With the world's worst sound getting deleted first, I know that occupies that entire channel. And we have the fun noise sound dropping in and out between the snare. I really do love that noisy sound. Alright, and is it just all hat? I wasn't paying attention. Looks like it's all hat. Removing the hat, which is musical letter H. H is B. In some different countries they use H instead of the note B. So it's note H. H. Okay, going down. Removing snare from kick track. And we are done. On to 19, which I've done already once before tonight. And this is all just the ga-ga-ga-ga-ga. That's gone. E. I think E is more noise, so I can safely delete that. Now again, removing the fun noise that happens around the snare. More fun noise. There. That's it. Okay. So here we go. More of the ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga. And on this last track here, 6 again was, I don't know. 6 was, oh, enjoy your favorite program. A Wheel of Fortune sample. A is more noise. More noise. More noise. Okay. Delete that. This one has a larger snare roll. More noise. 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 Getting down to it. Okay. I like that. Okay, moving on. We're catching up. Wait, how did we get to 24 already? I think I must have skipped some. Jesus Christ, how did I get to the end? I must have skipped some. Really like that. Dunk-a-dunk-a-gunk. Okay. Yeah, I skipped some majorly. So now working backwards, we're on 23. We can delete this track. It's nothing but the ga-ga-ga-ga-guzz. What's on that other channel? There is noise. Noise. Delete that. Looks like snare, noise. Replace noise with snare. Snare, noise. Whoa, wait. No, that's not a snare. That's just a, that comes out. There's a snare. Almost screwed up. See, is that right? Is there a snare on 24? That is the question. I have to figure this out. So, save where I'm at. This time, rather than lose it, because I can't undo. Alright, so on sequence block 23 at line 24, is there a snare? Going back to a full version of the song. 23, 24. Yes, indeed, there is a snare. Okay. But weird enough, where is the snare that... Oh, did it just not trigger? Oh, it's in the other channel, that's why it sounds muted. Okay. Going back to where I was, 23 should now be done. 22 we have more guzz. Delete that. Again, this whole center section is sloppy. Never really was married to it, never really cared too much for it, but it was just the time when we would throw out the GIFs. Didn't matter. Musically, it sucks ass. If there's a phrase, it sucks ass. Oops. Wait, where's the name of the sound? I don't know if this loaded in properly. Oh, the name of the sound isn't here because it's been wiped out because I saved a copy of this as drums and it automatically deletes samples that are not used. So this one is only going to eventually have just the snare and the kick. That's why. As these sounds get removed, they disappear from the file. So that's just E. Both noise. Goodbye track. Okay. Breaking it down, what do we have? There should be some D's left in here. D's are more fun noise. There's a fun noise. Snare. That should be it. Okay. Alright. 22 is now complete. And I'm going to save habitually now, since I made my mistake. I don't want to screw up and have to redo again and again and again. 21. More of the same. And there's the bowling sound. The one tangent I went on that went on forever there. D. Sample D. It's unlabeled. Oh, it says stit. Is it even the bowling sound? Oh, it's not the bowling sound. Oh! The whole time I thought that was the bowling sound, I went on this whole tangent about how Tato and me wrote that one song, Shadow Walk, and I don't even know if it was on the previous stream before the battery died. But I guess the bowling sound is not in this song after all. That was all a tangent, a digression that did not need to happen. Alright, back to the same old thing. Just gotta remove these fun noise, the D. Yeah, that noise. And slide the snare back over. Hello, fun noise. Goodbye, fun noise. There we go. Okay. 21. Enjoy your favorite to the back. Enjoy your favorite to the back. Okay. Same deal. Guzz go away, and noise goes away. You gotta get rid of the fun noise. Replace fun noise. Same deal. And that's it. Yeah. 19. Already done. Already done. Already done. Already done. Already done. Alright, this file is complete. I have now effectively separated the snare and kick from the rest of the song. Did I say that properly? Okay. Now let's take a look here. Yeah, we see the file is now 37,000 bytes. 37 bytes. 37,000 bytes. 37K. That is the song at this moment. Okay, very nice. That means it is now time to actually record this. So over here on the ADAT HD24, not the nice one with the extra high processing, but for what I do it really doesn't matter. Okay, so we are going to now import checking levels. Kick, snare, all set. So now the fun part comes. I actually got to lay this down, but I also have to record the track there, which is coming in on track 22, which is the sound coming out of the KMS 30, the Korg MIDI synchronizer. This thing actually goes for a pretty penny on eBay. It's well sought after because this thing allows you to record sync to a tape. Back in the day, with an 8-track recorder, that would take up one channel just for that, and oh my, 8 channels, 7 channels suddenly to record with it's not very effective. But for things when you're multi-tracking media, like MIDI files, and you want to be able to go back and re-record, this will make sure that you're synced up. It's not perfect. I'm recording digitally, so there's no way this is getting messed up when it hits the digital, but the Amiga running at 30 megahertz, I think the MIDI on it is not precise. So set master clock to tape. Is that right? No, because we're recording. Now we're switched over to MIDI. So the master is coming in from the Amiga is now going to be the MIDI master. And I'll confirm that when I play by the flashing red light. Oh, I have to set this to send a signal. MIDI active. Send. There. There's a beat, which is coming out on this track in all sorts of awful noise. For posterity! Let's see what it sounds like. Is that even the right channel? Bad boys rape our young girls, but Violet gives willingly. So yeah, it should be green. Super green, but it's not there. I don't know. It's making an awful wretched noise. That's what I can tell you. It's something like... It's a computer signal, much like a tape on a Commodore 64 or something. Alright. Now that I am sure that it is working, I am going to record. I hear some ticking. In the snare channel. Might be in both. It might be just the way this one's being amplified. I think it won't matter. Yeah. It's sort of like RF buzz that you get on old TVs when you're connecting. Because this is basically just coming through an old system. Okay. Consumer Commodity has no tracks recorded as of yet, but shortly that will change. Here we are, laying down the first. And this will give the template timeline that will be used as the base when this is switched to tape to cue the Amiga to run so that the other tracks will be in sync. Alright. All good. Record. And wait! This is going to go on for a while, for the full 3.5 full minutes. This is actually, this song is... Anyway, yeah, that 8% battery lasted for quite a while, but essentially, this is now the end resolution of this live stream, is just to say that was all it took. Not that was all it took. That was everything that I had to do to make just the separated kick and snare, and now there are 13 more samples to go through, which are all going to get their own channels, and that is going to become the new magic of Consumer Commodity being remixed properly. And on the side of versions, the original idea was that Consumer Commodity would be released on the plus tax and deposit in its original form, which is a good minute shorter, and it's only like a 3-minute song, so it was like a 2-minute song. And the idea is that the original one would just not have that whole center section that I don't really care too much about, and then the version 2 would appear on Bag of Meat, Boot to the Head. But at this point, why would I spend all the time separating out? I don't know, it's just, I mean, technically I can do that edit after the fact. Just do the full version, then cut it down and be like, hey, it's the same thing. It's the same exact track, so there we go. And so that's the idea is, I mean, if I really want to, I can still put the half version on the first album and the second version on the second album. Anyway, thank you if anyone bothered to watch. And for the record, this is literally just what it takes to reinvent the wheel here, with going back to Consumer Commodity on the original Amiga hardware, bringing it to the modern side, which is not even, this is not the modern side, to the semi-modern side to get it all imported, and then move it over via light pipe or via hard drive swap into a modern DAW to actually do the final mix. Okay, am I actually live? Yeah, I actually am. I figured since I'm live, I'll show the other track that I just did over the weekend briefly, just so you get an understanding. This is a track that I really also never really cared much for. It was just an early track that was one of the very first 99-cent special songs on the Amiga. And I took the time, and it wound up turning out to be about 12 channels. And I just bored to death of that sound that goes on in the background. That sound. It wasn't very imaginative, it just was this. When I first wrote the beat, I was like, hey, I really like this. And then I just never changed it. And so it just repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. But in the mix, I kind of killed it and buried it a little bit. But the Kling Bin, this amazing sample that I found, I just love this hitting metal sound. And that married with the beat. I just love that sound. And so I put forth the effort this past weekend. Put it all together. Separating out the drums from all the individual samples, that each of them getting their own channel, even that squeaky, squeaky, squeaky part, that's actually 2 separate channels, so it gets a little bit of a stereo effect. But anyway, this track actually is available. I did release it in temporary form on the 99centspecial.com website. You can actually go there and see this, hear the actual version. I don't know how to find it though. I don't think it's actually linked off of anything. Anyway, I should remedy that. It is available. I just haven't made it easily accessible. I put it on Facebook basically. So yeah, this is the end result, and it wound up getting a much cleaner sound, and the actual track came out beautifully compared to the versions that I had from 1991 or 92 versus the version that I made even just taking